So fast forward, the very next delivery, the very next stop. And we pull in there, and my driver, he accidentally kind of runs over a Suburban. And of course it kind of kissed, it damaged that car and then hit another one. But oh boy, and Anna's standing there, and she's like, I said, oh man, whose car is that? And she said, well, that's Leroy's. And so I went inside and I said, who's Leroy? And this guy waved his hand and he said, I'm Leroy. And I said, Leroy, I got something to tell you, but you have to promise me you're not going to punch me. He said, what do you mean? I just said, can you just promise you're not going to hit me? And he says, I'm not going to hit you. And I said, my driver accidentally hit your car. And he goes out and he looks it over, and he just comes back and he looks me in the face and he says, it's okay. It's no big deal. Well, I happened to be carrying some petty cash that I was taking out to the Pine Ridge store that day, so I had some cash on me. And so I reached into that bag and I wanted to make it right with him and give him some cash. And he said, you really want to give me this? And I said, yeah. I said, yes. I feel I just feel like we just need to make this right for you. And he said, oh, thank you. So he took the money and got the crowbar out and bent back the frame, got his tire turned out. He had to take his hitch off so he could because it was, the other car was on top of his hitch. He finally got that all done. And the other car belonged to my friend Anna's mom that she was driving. And I tried to give Anna some money as well. She wouldn't take it. And then about a couple minutes later, another girl comes crying, and she's just crying, couldn't console her, uncontrollably just crying and crying. And I thought, well, I must have misunderstood. That must be her car. And so I went up to her and I said, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't think your car got hurt very bad, but I want to make it right, and I want to give you some money. And she said, really? And I said, really, if you promise you'll quit crying, I'll give you some money, because I want to make it right with you. And so I gave her some money. Anna, who happened to be on the phone, got off the phone, and she said, did you think that was her car? I said, well, yeah. She said, no, I told you that was my mom's car. And I said, well, I didn't know why she was crying. I just assumed it was hers. She said, no, she's with Leroy. So they ended up getting paid twice for that car. But Anna told me, she said, that's a good thing. She pointed over to their house, which was probably about a mile away. It kind of sat in the middle of a field. And she pointed over there and she said, they don't have a roof on that house. And they've been trying to get some help from the tribe for 3 months. And they don't have a roof. And, obviously a very humbling moment. But even better yet, the next delivery when we showed back to Pass Creek District, Leroy and Eileen had bought another pickup that was in better shape so they could help do deliveries on this summer food program. It was important to them that these kids get fed, and that was just an amazing moment to me.